I got hit on in the weirdest way. I don't get hit on very often, guys. I know this might surprise you, but every now and then it happens, and fuck, man, this is a weird one. So I'm walking through the city, I'm wearing my leather jacket. I was going somewhere else, so I looked nice, like I had dressed up. So I was looking good, and I'm going down the street, and then I just stopped outside this cafe or some food place to look at their menu. And as I'm reading the menu, some girl, gorgeous girl, walks up to me. And she starts talking to me. And immediately, when someone who's fucking beautiful starts talking to me, I'm like, why? I'm like, I don't know. What am I going to do for you? Okay. And she was real short. She was like maybe 5'3". And and she starts talking to me and like real friendly talking. She touched my arm and I'm like, you know, when I suppose girls you would know within half a second when someone's hitting on you, because I guess it happens so much more often than men. But when a guy gets hit on by a girl that they don't know, it takes us like 2 minutes to be like, hang on, why is this girl being so nice to me? Why is this girl giving me the time of day? This is weird. What's wrong with this girl? So she starts talking to me, being real nice and standing close. And I'm like, what? She goes, hey, what's your name? I'm like, my name's Lewis. And at first I thought she was a fan, but she had no idea who I was. So she's talking to me, and I'm like, yep, okay. I get her name, and she just touches my arm, and I'm like, ooh, I think I'm getting hit on here. I could be getting hit on here. I'm not really sure. She touches my arm, and then I said something shit, and she giggled, and she went, haha, and she touched my arm again, and I was like, we're fucking on, boys. I gotta put up a wall here before I cheat on my girlfriend. But she starts talking to me, and just as I'm about to walk away, she goes, oh, how tall are you? You're so tall. And I was like, oh, fuck, here we go. Because I get this every fucking day. So I'm like, oh, I'm 6'8". And she goes, and she was a little bit foreign. She was a backpacker. And every time, for some reason, the moment a girl is out of her home country, she is like, I am not where I live. It's time for some fucking dick. Yee-hoo! Bro, you ever meet... If you talk to a backpacking girl for more than 3 minutes, you could probably sleep with her. Like that, for some reason, as soon as a girl leaves her home country, she's like, my reputation doesn't exist, and any kind of reputation I attain in this country isn't gonna follow me home, so let's start up the train. I'm gonna get fucked. So anyway, this girl, she starts talking to me, hitting on me. She asked me, she's like, oh, how tall are you? And I'm like, I'm 6'8". And guys, if you were skeptical about me getting hit on, I'm about to shatter your illusions. You're about to be on my fucking team. So she goes, oh, you're so tall. That's great. I'm only 5'3". And I was like, yeah, you're pretty small. And she goes, you could spit on my head. And I'm like, what? She goes, yeah. From up there, you could spit on my head. And I was like, I just went, yeah, I could. I don't know, I've never thought of that before. She goes, yeah, because I'm so small and you're so tall, and yeah, it's kind of cool, isn't it? And then I just went, I mean, yeah, I could, but I wouldn't do that to you. That'd be very rude. And she goes, it's not rude if I'm into it. And I was like, all right, well, I don't really want to spit on strangers in the street. And she goes, we don't have to do it in the street. I'm like, no, I'm fucking out. I am out of here. I am not going to go to a fucking hostel to spit on the top of some girl's head that I've just met. And I was like, hey, I'm sorry, I really got to go. And I go to walk away and she grabs onto my arm and I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't know what you thought you were trying to go for here, but I'm not really interested. Have a lovely day. I hope you find what you're after. And I walked away like, fuck. I think that's one of the only times that I've been like overtly hit on. I mean, like, it's happened after comedy shows, but it's never happened, like, in the street. That's probably the only time, like, in public when someone doesn't know I'm a performer, like a normal thing, where I've been fucking really hit on. I think, it was only one other time. And it was a backpacker as well. There was one other time. This was years, oh no, it was this year. Fuck, what have I been doing this year? All these fucking backpackers are hitting on me. Jeez, and I was wearing the jacket. It must be the jacket. You know what? You buy a fucking leather bikey jacket, and all of a sudden, girls from foreign countries with awful fathers are just like attract to you like it's a fucking mosquito magnet. So I remember it was at Brunswick Hotel. I was doing funny at the Brunny. I was about to perform in like 20 minutes. So I'm sitting at in the outside area, which is like a public space where normally people are just drinking. And I'm writing in my notepad, and I was by myself, just writing jokes that I'm about to go up and tell. And this girl sits opposite to me at the table. She's foreign. I don't know where she's from. Some European country. Again, quite a pretty girl. And she goes, "Hi, what's your name?" I'm like, "Oh," and I'm not paying attention to her. I'm like, "Oh, my name's Lewis," writing some shit down. And then she goes, What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm just writing some stuff." And she goes, "Oh, wow. Are you a writer? Are you writing poems?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, and immediately in my head, I was like, I know what you've done, you poor girl. You've seen some cunt at like 10 p.m. on a Monday in a leather jacket writing notes in a pad, and you think you found like William Shakespeare. You think you found some tragic, chain-smoking, modern William Shakespeare who's just trying to get a poem book published, and he's got so many dark feelings, and he rides a motorcycle, and he's never let anyone close to his heart, but maybe, just maybe, you could be the girl to distract him from his depressing poems, and he'll chase you for once instead of running away from his own feelings. But then, because you will have to move back to your home country, he'll follow you, writing poems about your love all the way. Like, just talking to her, I know she'd just written a narrative in her head about who I was and how she would incorporate into my beautiful but tragic story. And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm a comedian." And immediately, disappointment. Like, dude, and I was offended. I was like, "Hey, a comedian is such a more viable choice than a poemist? Poem writer? What's the word? Poet." That, like, a comedian is not a viable career choice, but at least it's more viable than a fucking poet. Like, come on, don't look down, don't be disappointed because I tell jokes instead of write about fucking pedals like every other cunt's already done before. I got real offended. But she still starts talking to me. She puts her hand on my fucking arm, which I hate. Don't touch me. Don't touch me, bitch. So she puts her fucking hand on my arm, and she's like, "What are you writing about?" And I'm like, "Oh, just jokes about..." I can't remember what I was writing about. I said something. She was like, "Oh, that's funny." And then she goes, she brings her friend over. And she goes, "Oh, this is my friend, whatever." Another pretty girl. And now they're both sitting opposite to me. And I'm like, "What the fuck's going on here?" And she goes, "This is my friend." And I'm like, "Oh, where are you guys from?" She goes, "Oh, we are from Germany, blah, blah, blah." And she's got this accent. And I was like, "Oh, I speak a little bit of German." She's like, "Oh, sprechen Sie Deutsch?" And I was like, "Ja, genau. Meine Geburtstag ist am 6. Januar." Which just means my birthday is the 16th of January, I think, anyway. And then they laughed, and she goes, "Oh, not very good." But then she just starts talking about this apartment that they're staying at down the road. She's like, "Yeah, me and my friend, we're staying in an apartment. It's just us, and, you know, we've got some music up there." And I'm just like, hang on a second, is this bitch trying to get me to come to an apartment? Either I'm going to get a threesome or murdered out of this. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to get on stage in a little bit, so I can't come. Sorry. And she's like, oh, no, that's okay. We'll stay and watch you perform. And then I was like, all right. But then I got to go home. She's like, that's okay. Maybe we can convince you otherwise. And I was like, fucking sick. The one time in my life I get an opportunity for a threesome, I'm in a wonderfully fulfilling relationship. I'm like, fuck! This is what every cunt dreams of, and I can't enact on this wonderful opportunity because I'm a good boyfriend. Whatever.